Okay, let's dive right in. We're exploring something really quite thought-provoking today.
We are. It's from Dr. Pooyan Ghamari's Reflections, After the Hero, the story of Rakhsh.
Right. Inspired by Ferdowsi's Shahnameh, but focusing on someone off in the background. Rakhsh.
Exactly, Rostam's horse. But this deep dive isn't just about Rostam.
No, it's about Rakhsh after Rostam's gone. What does that quiet tell us? What did the silence mean?
That's the mission, to unpack what these reflections suggest about Raksh's journey, his symbolic weight.
And what strikes me first, reading this, is how the source emphasizes Rakhsh wasn't just, a horse, even a great war horse.
Far more than that, a constant companion, always there.
Through everything.
Everything. The source points this out clearly: sleep, battle, even the absolute worst moment.
Like the tragedy with Sohrab, his own son.
Yes. Raksh was there. He didn't have a voice, didn't carry a sword, but he saw it all. Rostam's entire life, the triumphs, the agony.
So then Rostam falls. The hero story, in a sense, ends. But Rakhsh,
Raksh remains. That's key in these reflections. He's still there, wounded, maybe, eyes wide open, carrying, well, everything he witnessed.
like a living archive.
Kind of, and the source really digs into the symbolism there. Raksh, by remaining, represents something bigger.
What's that?
Maybe that whole generation or, the essential support network behind the hero, the ones who saw it, enabled it, but weren't the star.
Uh-huh. And he keeps going. But not because he's ordered to. Rostam's gone.
Exactly. The interpretation here is powerful. He walks on purely out of memory. It's the memory that drives him.
So by just continuing, he keeps the legend alive.
In a way, yes. He embodies the story. He carries what must not be forgotten just by his continued presence, walking on.
That silence you mentioned earlier, the source sees it as speaking, doesn't it?
It does. It speaks a kind of truth. Heroes die, it seems to say, but we still must walk. Life, the journey, continues.
Even if it's just walking back to a field or a mountain somewhere, that heavy presence means something.
And it makes Rakhsh a bridge, in this view, connecting the fallen hero's time to what comes next.
Not the hero, not the future generation, but the link, the one who remembers.
Precisely. The source also touches on Ferdowsi's original epic, the Shahnameh.
And how it's silent about what ultimately happens to Rakhsh.
Right. And this interpretation doesn't just note the silence, it sees the silence as the story.
How so?
It suggests Rakhsh doesn't get a neat ending because, symbolically, he remains. He's, well, the source says, in us.
Wow. Okay, so the analysis is that he was always in the shadow, maybe, but vital.
Absolutely vital, essential to Rostam's meaning. And those who remain, the witnesses, they're the ones who carry it forward.
He becomes the living conscience of the myth. That's a strong phrase.
It is. No pride, no glory like the hero, just awareness, the weight of what happened. Enduring.
Which loops right back to, well, to you listening.
The source lands on this idea. We are all Rakhsh if we choose to be.
Meaning, we might not be the central figures, the heroes of history.
Right. But we can choose to be like Rakhsh, and endure, to stay aware, to carry the important stories, the memories, the values forward.
Even when the main actors have left the stage.
Especially then, it's about that quiet strength, carrying the legacy.
So this deep dive really highlights that significance, the one who remains, the carrier of memory. It's a different kind of strength.
A profound endurance, absolutely.
And here's a final thought, something the source leaves us with to chew on.
Go on.
It suggests Raksh's silence, his quiet continuation, isn't just an ending or a fading away.
Okay.
It could be, and I quote, the beginning of a new flight.
A new flight from silence and memory.
Yeah. What could that mean? How can silence, that weight of the past, become a launch pad for something totally new, something for you to think about?